Did you know Scotty at all before this? Did you have any
Never
interaction
known.
with him?
No.
No phone
I was
calls?
trying to call him and text him, or I paged him. Back then we had,
Right.
but he wouldn't answer and he wouldn't talk to me, and I was like really nervous because like, is this guy going to be cool? Am I going to get along with him? And what's going to happen here? And I was too busy trying to figure out like how to be prepared for this huge promo that Paul gave me about a week's notice, saying you're going to cut a promo with the arena and introduce him, and you're going to do a great job.
Wow. No, I think I ran a show for Paul at Chamonix High School, or it was in Bristol, PA, and it was one of the spot shows, and Raven showed up. It was before he actually came into the company. You probably were on that show. Do you remember that?
It was in Chamonix High School, I believe, wasn't it?
It was either in Chamonix or Bristol. It was one of the
Yeah,
other.
it was just like I was all excited, introduced him, said we're going to be working together, and I'm going to do my best for you and everything. I was like, all right, and that was it.
Well, that gets on to my bigger question. Raven and you had a huge history. What were your very first impressions of Raven when you actually got to speak with him for some amount of time, not like just a quick hello, goodbye? What were your initial impressions of him?
Probably the initial impressions a lot of people have of him, that this guy is really smart and he's been in the business for a long time, and I'm going to learn from him. But man, he's a dick. He's a jerk. And I'm just going to have to put up with it if I want to learn.
Now, I remember, being around the locker room all the time, and I just remember that you and him had a lot of issues. I just remember seeing stuff that happened and hearing stuff. What was the biggest problem between you and Scotty? Was it, get into it.
It's kind of what me and Taz had but on a more personal level, and obviously we're working together, so I don't have to deal with Taz unless I'm working him in a match. And Scotty, I had to deal with it like 7 days a week if I wanted to learn in and out of the ring. Scotty's been on these shoot interviews. He talked about his demons. I mean, he wasn't exactly in the right mind. He wasn't exactly himself. I was a young guy. I didn't even know who I was back then. I wasn't mature enough to know. I just wanted to, of course, back then, we all have our family issues. My dad wasn't exactly, he was there, but he wasn't present, if that makes it, you've had a close relationship with your dad,
right.
But I didn't have that. It was very cold, old-fashioned Italian upbringing. So I was kind of looking for that guidance and that mentor in Raven. And at the time, he couldn't, I was asking too much of him, too. I was asking him to be something he wasn't, a mentor that was going to give me positive, productive roadmap in my career. He gave me the knowledge, but he wasn't doing it in a Hallmark moment.
Right.
he was just getting, but I learned so much. I knew when I was learning it, and I know especially now, I would not be here doing a shoot interview about a 22-year career without Raven.
Right. Now, did you have a lot of pressure on you now that you were with Raven? Did you feel more pressure?
It's so funny. Like, I was kind of felt like I was stuck in the middle between, what Taz, Tommy, The Office, Paul expected every talent to do, and then, following along with Raven and having respect for him and knowing that, he's my, I was a shoot lackey. He was my mentor in a lot of ways. I just carried his bags, did whatever he needed, even outside of the ring, just to try to learn the business. But he would show up for the shows, and you were there. We were supposed to be there at 6:30, and sometimes earlier. And Raven would show up at 7:30, 7:45, and I was driving him.
I was going to ask you, did you traveled with him a lot?
Yeah, I had to travel. I mean, I had to and wanted to.
Right.
It was just right to do. You know what I mean? Obviously, make his life a little bit easier, drive him around, do whatever he needs, and just try to learn the business. People might say, you know what, that's kind of stupid that you would go that far, but you know what? I don't regret it. I do regret getting there at 7:30, 7:45 and have to feel the wrath of, and then I can't put the heat on Scotty.
Right.
What do I do? I'm sorry, it won't happen. And just let them browbeat me, and now he probably laugh about it with me as he's sitting back there getting dressed. You know?
You were pretty much miserable at this period of time, right? A little bit? I mean, you were making it, but at the same token, behind the scenes, you had all the pressure on you, and you had, heat from the New York clique. Were you miserable, or were you happy to be in the business? And
you have to,
or you didn't know any better?
I wish I didn't know any better. It was such an up and down roller coaster ride, because there was nothing better. Me and Scotty and I in the ring was money. It was money. You know what I mean? We worked with everybody. We were, and Raven gave me a lot to go on. I didn't know, you're talking about all these impressions, the fabulous ones, the Baron von Stevie. Meanie came up with BWO, but all these other things and these little things that, hey, you're going to do this and you're going to dance with this girl that's all high in Ybor City, and we're going to call you Dancing Stevie Richards. That's Raven, man. So obviously all that stuff was so fruitful to my career. But then, I just had to eat up a lot of personal stuff. I had insecurities too, and I was low self-esteem and everything. And when, legit tough people or people that you think are legitimately tough are browbeating you, making you feel even more like a piece of shit, yeah, you kind of aren't happy.
Did Raven and Paulie keep you, I guess, in line as far as your development of your interview skills? Did they help you a lot with your promos?
Yeah, absolutely.
Early on?
Paul can play every character on the show.
Right.
So I'm sitting there, and he had my voice down. He had the voice I had at the time. He had my voice down and my mannerisms and all the other stuff. And he would do me and Scotty's promos in front of us, to us. And I just said, it's funny because it was like I wasn't listening to what he was telling me to say. I was actually just entertained by him doing it. I was like, this is so cool. Look at this. And Scotty's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, Terry Taylor. I didn't know Raven was kind of like, supposedly, and I'm paraphrasing and sort of speculating a little bit, but I know it's true. He went to Page and Bischoff, and they told him, bring him in, and he wanted me to be his lackey again, not only on camera, but off camera. To reprise my role to make his life easier, and so he can get messed up on drugs and alcohol and everything else. And that was just Terry Taylor called me, you want to come work? And I said, yeah.
I was going to ask you, was your relationship better or worse with Scotty in
Worse.
WCW?
Worst, the worst it's ever been. He was a monster, man. He was such a jerk off, and I got along with a lot of people in WCW, and Bischoff actually looked at me and said, man, we can make you something like a Shawn Michaels. He saw potential in me, and he was actually a little bit encouraging to me too. You gotta think, I'm still an insecure guy with low self-esteem. Now I have people mad at me at ECW, so it's like that weighed on me, so I kind of needed to seek some approval in a way. And Scotty was like, man, you're just, treating me like a... I was like day one again with him. He was really... And, he was getting paid a lot of money, and they were pushing him, so they were creating the monster and making it even bigger.
Right. What are your memories of your match with Raven at Clash of Champions?
That was the moment where I knew that I couldn't be around him anymore. Match itself was fine. I mean, WCW did put me on a Clash of Champions.
Right.
Raven claims we killed the Clash of Champions. As a matter of fact, it was the last one. I just remember, I finally stood up to him in some way. I wanted a match against him, which was really rushed, by the way.
Right.
They were trying to redo what ECW did. And Scotty, said, hey, you're going to get squashed. You're going to be like whatever. And I said something to the effect of, okay, well, I'm standing up to you. If I stand up to you and then we have this match and you completely squash me, how are these people ever going to believe me ever again if I go to do it again? And he goes, well, you don't understand, Stevie. He goes, you were just brought in here to be my $85,000 a year job boy, cunt, bitch, or whatever. You're my fucking lackey. Shut your fucking mouth, do your job, or I'll talk to Paige and get you fired. I think I got that down. I said it in the Rise and Fall thing. I think that's exactly how it went down. I'm real big on trying to quote directly, so most of this is mostly paraphrasing.
Right.
But you get the gist of what he said to me.
Here we go again. Raven, working with him in TNA.
It was fine.
Easy.
Absolutely fine, man.
Thoughts on how Raven's career played out?
I think Raven would have been a lot bigger of a star for a lot longer of a period of time if he didn't get in his own way. A lot of us have that thing. Our biggest strength is also our biggest weakness. And Scotty's intelligence and his ability to put together psychology and teach young guys like me and do everything, his ego gets in the way of all that. He can't separate one or the other.
Are you shocked he's not down working for FWE right now or an agent's job?
FWE?
I'm not FWE.
Oh, NXT or FCW?
Yeah, FCW, I meant.
It's FWE or whatever you call it. No, I'm not shocked. No, I don't think Scotty, like Terry Taylor's in that position right now, where he's kind of finishing guys' characters off before they go on TV. They have stages, from what I understand, where Norman Smiley teaches the basic, Joey's Matthews. There's Ricky Steamboat now, Billy Gunn.
Dusty promos.
Yeah, exactly. Dusty promos. With Scotty, I don't think he can let go of the talent and the wrestler Raven to be the coach, trainer, motivator, mentor, Scott Levy. Scotty still thinks he's a top guy. He refers to himself like that verbally in front of you. Have you ever heard him say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot.